Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss what we thought of the Golden Globes. I thought it was such a fun time, especially during quarantine, COVID. I feel like award shows really help, liven things up. Yeah, for sure.
We were partying. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were excellent, and it was really interesting to see how they did it because Tina Fey was in New York and Amy Poehler was in LA.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, and it makes sense because they obviously didn't want to make people fly across the country in either direction for the Golden Globes. Yeah.
Good for COVID. Good for us.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see everyone on their computers.
With their family.
Yeah.
Sometimes in their jammies.
I know. I'm obsessed with Jodie Foster's pajamas, actually. I bet they're like $1,000, but I love them.
She's like, yeah, I won, so...
If anyone knows where to get them, let me know.
Yes, she wants them.
I thought the show was paced well. It didn't feel slow. It felt a little slow, I guess, for Al Pacino.
Oh my! He was falling asleep faster than your grandpa could.
Well, at least he was up for it and he made it.
If you're nominated, you have to come. Yeah. And he came sleepy.
And everyone was safe, so because that's the most important thing.
Our cat is attacking the camera.
Some of the films that won, we were pretty much happy with, I would say. Nomadland won for Best Drama.
I knew it.
Yeah, and even though we hadn't seen all of the dramas, we did see that one. And it was excellent, as we had said in the prior video.
Oh, good. I mean, we've been telling all of our friends.
Yes, and Chloe Zhao won as well for Best Director. So that was really nice to see. She seems like so sweet. Like I know,
so deserved.
She had a mug of tea, and I was just like, oh, she's so cute with her pigtails.
Right.
Braids, yeah.
Her winning the award just felt like, oh. Yeah, Chloe Zhao's movie was brilliant, so it's no surprise that she won.
Best animated film went to Soul. I think everyone thought that was going to win.
Favorite. I'm sure it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it.
The one surprise for me, even though I really liked it, was Borat winning Best Comedy or Musical.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
And
I love him.
Yes, I love him too. He actually won for his role as well a second time playing that character, because when Borat, the first one, came out, he won for Best Actor. The film did not win Best Musical or Comedy because it went to Dreamgirls that year, so it wound up winning this year. Which is nice, because for the work that Sacha Baron Cohen does, I think it does need to be recognized.
Yeah. It's like guerrilla style filmmaking.
I don't know if it'll get... I mean, maybe it'll get an Oscar nomination. I mean, there's 10 spots.
Yeah.
So I could see it definitely getting nominated. I don't think it's going to get the win, but I'm glad he got recognition for this, because what he does is incredibly risky. He really puts himself out there in
he could get arrested,
crazy way,
or killed.
Yeah, he got shot at a couple times. So
he thanked the people at the awards for keeping him safe, and it's a different style of filmmaking.
Very different style.
Beyond prank shows and beyond his early days of doing Ali G. Yeah. No, he proves himself as one of the filmmakers that is kind of doing social commentary.
And it's crazy to me that people still don't recognize him. Which actually, that was the great plot point of that film, was he dressed up in a disguise because
he had to.
Everyone was recognizing that character.
Borat was so fun to watch.
I mean, initially I was kind of disappointed because right prior to the Golden Globes, we had watched Palm Springs. And I wound up loving Palm Springs so much. And I can't recommend it enough.
It's a wild ride.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be another Celeste and Jesse Forever. Right,
but it was not that. It was...
it is beyond what you think film can do nowadays. It's like more than an indie flick. It was sci-fi. It was fun.
You really didn't know what was going to happen. I think we pretty much assumed it would be a happy ending to some extent, but because the characters are so complex and because the situation is very out there, you still didn't really know fully what was going to happen to everyone. And I think it ended perfectly.
Kept you going.
It was great. It was the ending you wanted without being cliche. There's a stinger after the credits.
Yeah, there is a stinger.
Not you don't have to watch all the credits. It's probably 10 seconds into the credits.
Right at the beginning.
Really just is the cherry on top of that movie. It really just makes you smile, laugh, that was great, So, and definitely out of the 5 nominees for that category, Borat, Palm Springs, absolutely great. And also Fun Hamilton times. Obviously was great. I do love that we got a comment on our last Golden Globes post about including more diverse voices. And I think that was definitely a point at the Golden Globes that was discussed.
Yes.
And I
noticeably.
And I've always found that, like, yes, there's this issue. We know it exists. Mm-hmm. My thought is, any progress that the Oscars make in that sense, it always seems like the Golden Globes are still behind even the Oscars. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm not saying the Oscars have made whirlwind changes, but any progress that the Oscars have made in this, the Hollywood Foreign Press seem to just not be getting it. And I don't know if it's because there really are, it's up to 90 people that vote, which is kind of bizarre. It's a strange...
I want to know who's in that group.
Yeah, it's a strange... It's actually, if you think about it, kind of a strange award show to begin with, if it's just these 90 people that are giving these, opinions.
They always thank the Hollywood Foreign Press for it, and we're like, we kind of know what that is.
Yeah, it's like this big mystery. But big, I'm really glad that was addressed by many people that night, and specifically Jane Fonda, whose speech I thought was
so good.
One of the best speeches I've ever seen, and she won the Cecil B. DeMille Award, and
deserved. And she's from Grace and Frankie, which I like to call Frankie and Spanky. So no, she's one of the greats. You know her from her activism.
Yeah.
She's been like this figure in culture over the years that just doesn't give a hoot.
Yeah, and
she gets arrested, and finally she gets to say even more. I love that woman.
Yeah, she's always fighting for justice, and I find that I've never seen anyone give a speech that referenced so many films of the year and how specific she got.
That was smart.
In the foreign film category. I mean, short film,
covered all bases.
Documentaries. I mean, she, including in the speech, talked about how these films changed her, and that is what cinema is.
Yes.
It can change you.
Cinema is all about making sure people feel the experience and bring it and pass it on.
Her speech was incredible. If you didn't watch the Golden Globes, like, YouTube her speech, because it was so powerful.
Please.
It was fantastic.
It brought her to tears.
Yeah.
She was misting up.
Well, and the other thing that brought me to tears was, of course, Chadwick Boseman's wife accepting his award. That was really difficult.
We implore you, please watch these clips. They're worth it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be telling you.
Yeah, and he definitely deserved it. I've been saying since when he did Get On Up that he deserved a nomination for that.
All those biopics.
42. I mean, he's just given such amazing performances throughout the years. And again, her speech was just devastating. Even if you just know him from Black Panther, I would highly just urge you to watch his other films. He was really
so good.
An incredible actor, and
we miss him.
Yes, everyone seems to miss him greatly.
I'm so glad he won.
I know we talked your ears off about it in the last video.
Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yes, and Aaron Sorkin won for Best Screenplay. That wasn't really a surprise.
Sorkin, the walk and talk.
He really tied it all together, and there's the thing that stood out to me about that screenplay and its adaptation was the way they explain to you what the event was that caused this trial. The way they reveal what happens is such a clever way to do it. It's actually having Eddie Redmayne's character prep for the next day's trial, or the next day in court.
Eddie Redmayne, so good.
Right, and Mark Rylance, who I love, obviously, is practicing with him and drilling him because he's like, you can't lose your cool. No. So he's like, they go over the whole story, and that actually happens, I'd say, 3/4 through the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't happen in the beginning. You're not given a lot of what happened, just like little tiny pieces here and there. But then you get to see visually exactly what happened. And some people could say, like, oh, well, they're telling too much, but you're not, because you're watching him being prepped for this.
It's so behind
for him
the
to take the stand. So that's why it really worked for me.
And he included a lot of history, so we learned a lot. He made sure that all the dialogue was fit just right for the characters and for the actors themselves.
We discussed this after the film too. Eddie Redmayne's character, and his character's name's escaping me at the moment. He and Abby Hoffman, Sacha Baron Cohen, have very opposite viewpoints on how to get messages across, even though they're fighting for the same thing.
Conflicting ideals.
Eddie Redmayne's character has this belief that you have to run for office to make change. And Abby Hoffman says you have to preach to the people, essentially, to make change. You have to cause a fuss. You have to, a squeaky hinge is the one that gets oiled, essentially. And they disagree with that, but they are fighting for the same thing. And I actually, after the film, I was like, oh, Bernie Sanders is kind of like a mix of both of those characters, because he is the squeaky hinge that gets oiled, but he also ran for politics. It's almost like if you took Bernie Sanders as a person and like split them in half, like
two different ideals, and they kind of clash, but they're on the same team.
They are on the same team. At the end of the day.
Yeah, that was such a good one.
Yes, and again, we have not watched it yet, but we're going to be watching it in a couple of days. A Promising Young Woman really seemed to like blow a lot of people's minds, so I was a little surprised it didn't win anything.
It has to perform at the Oscars, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get nominated. And again, we haven't seen it yet, so we can't really say. We might watch it and be like, oh, it wasn't that good, but I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. Curveballs always happen at the Golden Globes, so the Oscar nominations list, I believe, comes out March 15th. We'll definitely be reviewing those as soon as that comes out. One of the other films that didn't perform as well was Mank.
Yes, Mank.
Yes, I know.
Mank, written by David Fincher's father.
Jack, I think his name is.
Jack Fincher. Yeah. And he had to be there to accept his father's award if he won, but no win. He kept taking shots of liquor when everybody was being announced as winners, the nominees.
Yeah, and David Fincher's won, multiple times, and maybe it's just not his year. So. Yeah,
David Fincher has won plenty of awards.
Yeah.
He needs to chill.
One of our favorite lines, though, from Mank is, and I can't believe we forgot to mention this, but on one of Gary Oldman's rants, he calls someone an old sock as an insult.
We've been saying it all over the house.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, see, you old sock?
Yeah, we can't stop, because I just find it the funniest thing to call someone an old sock.
Hey, you old sock.
Yeah. I think that should just win for best sentence in a film of all time. It was nice that they did a red carpet. It was a safe way to do it. It wasn't, the normal red carpet, but for fans, it was nice to get a little bit of that prior to the show opening. There
was the occasional raising of the glass. We had our own champagne here.
Yes.
It was celebratory. Cheers.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers.
If you've seen any of these films, or you're about to see, or if you disagree with us, let us know. We're just at the beginning of watching all the award season films, and we have many more to see. A friend of mine texted me yesterday and said Judas and the Black Messiah was just brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to that. And Daniel Kaluuya, I love him, and ever since Black Mirror,
and Black Mirror,
and that's how Jordan Peele cast him in Get Out. Was he saw the episode of Black Mirror that he was in, and
he always shines.
He always shines.
I'm so glad.
He seems so nice.
I know, what a nice guy.
So, Promising Young Woman with Carey Mulligan and Judas and the Black Messiah with Daniel Kaluuya are going to be the next, as well as I think we'll be checking out Minari, which won Best Foreign Film. Yes,
we even saw a roundtable directors roundtable discussion about certain films that were actually nominated for Golden Globes this year. The director of Minari was there. We wanted him to have more of a say in the conversation, and he ended up winning.
If you're just as nerdy about movies as we are, The Hollywood Reporter does roundtables every award season, and they're just fascinating. I watch them every year. You learn so much, and it's so nice to see. This one in particular was the directors. So they have the directors roundtable, and then sometimes they'll have the actors roundtable, the actresses roundtable, the cinematographers, the writers, and you get a little bit of a different perspective when it's a bunch of writers or directors just with their banter and casually discussing what it takes making films, and they all have their different viewpoints and perspectives and experiences.
We fully enjoy it.
We fully enjoy it.
It enriches us. It teaches us a lot of stuff about directing, filmmaking.
Yeah, so you can watch that on YouTube with The Hollywood Reporter. And so the director of Minari was on. And I also think it will be nominated for Best Picture, not only just foreign film. Yes. And we might get surprised with the Oscar nominations and what wasn't included. So we really hope you enjoyed our recap of the Golden Globes. It was, again, so refreshing during this time where everyone's trapped inside.
But we're still having fun out here.
It was just really nice to see everyone in such good spirits, and it felt...
this year was special.
There was so much camaraderie with everyone. No. I'm actually really curious if they were able to see at home these other actors, because I think that they were.
I hope they saw like some Brady Bunch thing going on.
Yes, and when Jason Sudeikis was kind of like going on and on and on because of a little too much greenery, shall we say?
Oh my Lord, he's like, here's my hoodie.
Yes.
My sister sells them. Everyone's like, what are you wearing?
Right, and he was genuinely shocked that he won.
Oh yeah, he didn't expect to win at all.
And we don't really talk about TV, but it's an award season, so we think it's valid. So during that like long-winded, confused acceptance speech that was, I thought it was adorable. It was everyone loves Jason.
We love Jason. So
he can't do wrong by anyone.
He's our bro.
But Don Cheadle was like making jokes all the time, like, okay, like wrap it up. It's time to go. Like, okay, we get it.
It was a great moment.
Yeah, it was just fun, and I made
had fun.
Yeah, and I made the comment to him that like everyone's screens looked so nice with the the plants in the back and the lights and everything, and it looked like everyone had their own YouTube channel. So
getting inspiration. I love doing this with her.
It's so much fun. Yeah. And it's so nice to connect with people and talk about movies. Like, I try to do that regardless, but this just takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, it turns out other people are nerdy like us.
Yes.
We're loving the feedback, and we appreciate you guys so much. And thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.